Hi guys, welcome back to another video tutorial. So in this tutorial we'll be going through another exam question, and in this one it's going to be about a simultaneous equation, but more of a quadratic simultaneous, well, it is a quadratic simultaneous equation. Who am I kidding here? So this is a quadratic simultaneous equation, and this is a 7-mark question, and we'll be going through that. So what I'll be going through is basically showing you the step-by-step method on how to answer this exam question. Now if you know how to do this, pause the video and try the question and see if you can get the answer, and then play the video back and then see if you have the answer or not. Okay, if you I had the previous video as well was also another exam question. I think it was on trigonometry. So if you want to kind of test your kind of knowledge, I would definitely say, try and do that question and see if you can do it, and I'll put the link on the top right hand corner right now, so try and do check it out. I think that was a 5-mark question, so yeah. Okay, so let's get straight to the question. And again, if there's anything that you don't understand here and there was something that you're not getting it, just write it down in the comments and I will reply back to you. Okay, so this simultaneous equation that we have now, whenever you see a simultaneous equation, you need to know, basically I need to find an x value and I need to find a y value. That's the whole point of these questions. What is my x value? What is my y value? And that's what I'm going to find. And what I'm going to do here, and you'll understand as I'm going through this, I'm going to take the second equation, x minus 3y is equals to 1, right? And what I'm going to do to the second equation is I'm going to make x the subject, and there's a reason why I'm going to make x the subject. So let me do that first and then I'll explain to you why. So if I make x a subject, it means that this minus 3y goes to the other side, which means that becomes a positive 3y. So it's just going to be 3y plus 1. Now the reason why I'm making x a subject is because if I look at the first equation, or even the second equation actually, you cannot solve these equations because there's two unknowns, right? There's an x and a y unknown. But if I make everything in this equation all y's, then I can solve that equation because there's only one unknown, which is y. Do you guys see that? So by me eliminating this x and x and get everything in terms of y, I can then find my y. So what I mean by that is, if I take this equation now, right, let's bring x squared plus 2xy plus y squared is equals to 9. Okay, and what I'm going to do basically is, you see now, instead of writing x and x, I know what my x value is here, because I've said, okay, look, x is equals to 3y plus 1. So if I take this 3y plus 1 and substitute that inside x here and inside x here, isn't everything going to be in terms of y? Do you guys see that? So what I'm going to do is, instead of writing x squared, I'm going to write bracket. Okay, let's write bracket, and that's going to be squared. But now instead of writing x, I'm going to write 3y plus 1. Yeah? Because I'm substituting this 3y plus 1 inside here. So I'm putting this inside this x, and I'm taking this and then putting that inside this x. So substituting it, right? This whole equation, 3y plus 1. So now what I have is, I have x squared plus, then you have plus, oh, that's not plus really, is it? Okay, plus, now you have 2y, so you can write 2y, but this is 2 times x times y, so it's 2y times x. So again, instead of writing x now, I know my value of x because I'm substituting the value of 3y plus 1 inside here. So now it's going to be 3y plus 1. Well, that didn't work quite well. So 3y plus 1. Okay, so that's 3y plus 1. And then you have the plus y squared equals to 9. Okay, so do you see what I've done here? I know the handwriting's a bit iffy. You're basically putting 3y plus 1 inside here, and then you're substituting. Now look, everything, this whole equation, can you see there's not a single x in here? It's all in terms of y, which means then I can solve this. So what this basically means is, this 3y plus 1 whole thing squared means I'm going to expand the bracket, and the way I'm going to expand this bracket is basically 3y plus 1 times by 3y plus 1. That's why 3y plus 1 squared means, or that's what 3y plus 1 squared means. You're timesing it by itself. Plus, now I'm going to expand this bracket. 2y times 3y is 6y squared. 2y times 1 is 2y. And then plus y squared is equals to 9. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to expand it. So 3y times 3y is 6y squared, and then 3y times 1 is 3y, 1 times 3y is 3y, and then 1 times 1 is 1, so plus 1, and then you have 6y squared. Oh, let's rewrite. Plus 6y squared plus 2y plus y squared equals 9. Okay, so now what we're going to do is simplify. Ooh, no. Okay, I've just realized I've made a silly mistake. I'm just looking back and I realize I made a silly mistake. Can you guys spot where that silly mistake is? If you can and you spotted it, write it down in the comments where I've made the mistake. So pause the video, write it down and see where I've made that mistake. Because I actually can see, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's not right. Okay, right. So if you've already spotted a silly mistake, and you might have already spotted it, 3y times 3y is not 6y, is it? 6y squared. 3y times 3y is 9y squared. Yeah, so be careful. Even I make silly mistakes as well, so just be cautious as well when you expand brackets. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to simplify, which means I'm going to, I guess you can call it, collect like terms, you know. So 9y squared plus 6y squared is 15y squared plus y squared is 16y squared. 3y plus 3y is 6y, 6y plus 2y is 8y. Yeah, I'm just adding the y squareds and the y's, and then I have plus 1. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this 9 to the other side, so that becomes minus 9, and that is equals to 0, because you see I want to get a quadratic. Yeah, so now I have 16y squared plus 8y. 1 minus 9 is minus 8 equals 0. Now, this is my quadratic, and I'm going to solve for y. But before solving for y, what can I do first to make my life, or I guess your life, easier? What can we do first before doing anything, before solving? And what I'm going to do is basically divide everything. If you look at all these numbers, it's all divisible by 8. So I'm going to divide everything by 8. So if I take 8 out of this, 16 divided by 8 is 2y squared. 8 divided by 8 is 1, but because it's y, it's going to be y. Minus 8 divided by 8 is 1. And that is equals to 0. Now if I bring 8 to the other side, I'm left with 2y squared plus y minus 1 is equals to 0. And for those who don't understand what happened to the 8, what I've done is with this 0, I've done 0 divided by 8, which gives me 0. Hence why I get 0. Because the reason I divide is because this is 8 times. So you do the opposite. So now that 8 is gone, and now I'm going to solve this. Can you see? Look at the difference between here, or this equation, and this equation. Look at the numbers. It's reduced a lot more. Well, it's a lot smaller, which makes it easier to solve. So now the next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to solve this equation. So I'm going to do 2y squared plus y minus 1 equals 0. Now, a lot of my students that I teach here as well, they find, okay, this is quite interesting, but they find quadratic formula easy to solve, to use, and I can understand why, because it's just a formula. But what I always say is, if you can factorize this, factorize it, because the factorizing method is only a couple of lines compared to the quadratic formula. So always see if you can factorize this, and if you can't, then you can choose if you want to use completing the square quadratic formula. Okay, so if you don't know how to do those methods, I'll put the link on the top right hand corner as well for you guys to go and check it out, the completing the square quadratic formula, because those would be definitely helpful for you guys. Okay, so the way I'm going to factorize this is basically as well, and also as well the factorizing, I think, because I'm going to go through factorizing. If you don't know how to do factorizing, I highly recommend to go and check the factorizing video out, and I'll again put that in the top right hand corner, the link. Okay, so basically to factorize this, I want two numbers when I multiply gives me minus 2, because I do 2 times minus 1, and two numbers when I add gives me 1. So basically my two numbers is going to be 2 and minus 1. Yeah, because 2 plus minus 1 is 1, 2 times minus 1 is minus 2. And now all I'm going to do here is I'm going to write 2y squared, bring these two numbers in here, and add a y. So it's going to be 2y minus, because it's 1, it's just going to be minus 1. And then or minus y, sorry, and minus 1 is equals to 0. Now I'm going to factorize 2y squared plus 2y. So what can I take out from here? Maybe I should use a different color. So what can I take out from this if I want to factorize, or I guess what's in common is 2y is common, which gives me, if I take 2y out, y plus 1, because I'm dividing everything by 2y. And here you can see between minus y and minus 1 that minus is in common, and because there's nothing else in common, it's just going to be minus 1. So then I'm left with y plus 1, and that is equals to 0. Now all you do is you bring this in one bracket, so 2y minus 1, and then because you have y plus 1 together twice, you only need to write it once. So now what I have is 2y plus 1 is 2y minus 1 equals 0. So you have 2y minus 1 equals 0. So if I want to find y, bring the 1 to the other side, which is positive 1, and then divide it by 2. So you have half. And then you have y plus 1 is equals to 0. So y is equals to, bring 1 to the other side, minus 1. So those are your two values of y. Okay, now again, if you don't understand how I did this, the factorizing method, go check the factorizing video tutorial. It will really help you, yeah, because this is very important. If you can't do these, or quadratic formula, completing the square, that's literally half the question that half the marks, okay, because you need to be able to do that to be able to solve the equation. Now we found my y values. Well, we've got the y values, y equals half and y equals minus 1. What's the last step that I'm missing here? Do you guys know what the last step I'm missing is? I need to find my x value, because I found my y values, but now I need to get my x value. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that second equation, x minus 3y is equals to 1, right? Now let me write this in a different color. When my y value, actually we don't need to write this one, because we rearranged it anyway, didn't we? Here we can use this again, it's the same thing, so we can reuse no, not orange. We can use that x is equals to 3y plus 1. Okay, it's the same thing, it's just rearranged. Now when my y value is equals to half, okay, so let me put my y value here is equals to half. I'm going to substitute my half inside here, right? So basically when my y value is half, so that means x is equals to 3 times, because this is 3 times y, so 3 times my y value, which is half, yeah, plus 1. So you're doing 3 times half plus 1. So 3 times half is 3 over 2, plus 1 is 5 over 2. So my x value is going to be 5 over 2. And you can double check this as well, okay? If I got this wrong, it should be right anyway. And now we do the same thing so we rewrite this 3y plus 1. But in this case now my y value is minus 1 here. So when y equals minus 1, what is my x value? So no, that's the wrong color. So x is equals to 3 times y, which is now 3 times minus 1, because my y value is minus 1. Oh, that didn't work. So 3 times minus 1. And then you have plus 1. Okay, so now if you find that out, so x is equals to 3 times minus 1 is minus 3, minus 3 plus 1 is minus 2. So I have my x value. Now the final step in how we write the answer for this is basically, I'll write this, so when x equals 5 over 2, so when x equals 5 over 2, here, my y value here was half. So my y value was half. And then, comma, when x is equals to minus 2, my y value was equals to, what was it, minus 1. And that is your answer for this quadratic simultaneous equation. Okay, so there is quite a algebra in here. And you can see you have to do a bit of expanding, simplifying, factorizing, possibly quadratic formula or completing the square. But like I said at the beginning, the whole point of doing these questions, the simultaneous equation, is you need to basically find your x and y. That's the whole point of these questions. That's it. That will never ever change. And once you understand that, and the methods in how to kind of manipulate this, it is very straightforward. It's more like a repetition, I would say. So hopefully this video has helped you to understand how to do these, well, simultaneous equation. And if it has, and if you want more of these kind of videos or exam questions, please give this video a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And again, if there's anything you didn't understand, or even in the working out that I've done, just put it down in the comments, and like I said to my students as well, I will reply back. Do not be scared. If there's anything you don't understand, let me know. I will help you out. It's better for you guys to kind of, it's better to kind of face the problems or any questions or doubts that you have, rather than just keeping in and saying, okay, you know what, yeah, I don't understand, but I'm just going to keep moving forward. Okay, let me know and I will help you guys out. Okay, so that's a wrap for this video, and I shall see you on the next one.